it night, night, night. No need for the daylight to rise. You're fighting for attention and breaking all the heart with burning sunlight. But the devil
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not going to complain about yesterday's lunch, but this lunch was good. I'm not complaining about yesterday's lunch because I ate and I felt full. But this lunch was great. Okay, we have a day one winner, and we want to thank you so much for filling out some surveys. We have a survey winner from yesterday. Marisol Campos, are you here? Boom. I like the energy. And let me guess, you never win anything, right? Well, you're a winner today. Congratulations. Thanks for filling in the survey. Wonderful. We're having that blanket offering that's going to be happening today. And the blanket offerings for a recent loss of a community member from Wickwem Kong. And we are going to have that blanket offering after the next panel. And we're going to be starting our lived experience panel. And that's going to be happening in just a second. That blanket offering is going to be at 2:30. I want to just point you in the right direction. There are bank machines all over. There's 1 million bank machines, probably within a kilometer radius. But there's one on the property downstairs on Avenue level, east entrance. It's a BMO bank machine. Also, during that blanket dance, you're going to see a graphic pop up for EFT information. So we're going to invite all of you, once the blanket rolls around, is to give what you can. Because that gift, of course, comes with love. And when it gets to the family, they're going to feel the love of this place. Okay? And that's going to be happening right after we're done. The Manitou Makwa singers will render a song for us. And then a few of our young people will walk around with the blanket. And then we'll fill that up. Alrighty? Are we good? Okay. So our panel, after lunch, I'm just going to throw this at you. Watch out. Okay, perfect. Our afternoon panel, before we get you on workshops, this panel will bring together First Nations from across Ontario region to share powerful experiences that carry truth, healing, and medicine in ways that no textbook or policy ever can. Panelists will share stories that come from real life, from surviving trauma, substance use, the child welfare system, and from the long, often challenging journey of finding ways back home and connect with culture and wellness. Overcoming mental health and substance use challenges, homelessness, incarceration, the 60 scoop, and intergenerational traumas that have disrupted families and communities requires immense strength and perseverance. But it also takes all of us walking together with unity, humility, showing up for relatives struggling, listening without judgment, and recognize that healing is a shared journey. We encourage you to take their words as more than just stories, but as bundles of knowledge. Knowledge about strength, courage, and keeping our inner fires burning, even through dark times. These stories are more than just memories. They are medicine we must carry to heal ourselves and loved ones around us of who are struggling. Everybody, we have panelists coming up on the stage, and we have 6 chairs. I'm going to take this chair right here, panelists. You're going to see 5 wonderful, wonderful members of our communities pop up, and they're going to share a little bit about who they are. We will then have some questions, in which I have some questions right here. And with time pending, we'll open up to the floor, and we'll have some questions, comments, and just kind of like sharing some words of love and beauty to them. Everybody, could we have all of our panelists please come on stage now? Thank you. Yeah. We have Roland Pheasant, Lindsay Trudeau, Allison Recollet, Quentin Bird, Regan Gamble. Everybody, come on, let's hear for them. Come on, let's go. These are our people speaking their truth. Eh. Oh man, that was rough. Never do that again, Stan Wesley. Did you get that on camera? Oh my goodness. Welcome. 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 I'll sit right here, okay, guys? Welcome. Panelists, there's 5 of you. There's 3 microphones. So if you don't have a mic and it's your turn, we'll just share the microphone, okay? Wonderful. So panelists, good afternoon, first of all, panelists. You were informed that we're going to start off by about 10 minutes each. And then from there, panelists, I have some questions which you have. We will go from question to question, and then we'll open up to the audience. If there's a few people that have questions or comments, and even if we're not done this, we may just jump right out to the audience if that's okay with you. Alrighty? Everybody, let's send a little bit more love over here to the panelists before we start. Come on, let's go. Panelists, if you don't mind, because sometimes when you get started and you get rocking, you kind of lose track of your own time. So I'll keep time, and then I'll kind of give you a wink when we're getting close. Okay, just so we stay on time as best as possible, respectfully. Okay, panelists, good afternoon. I don't know in which order you'd like to go, panelists. I'll leave it up to you. If you're feeling compelled to go first, you can. You're thinking down here. She's thinking down there. So I'm not sure. So panelists, I'll leave it up to you, but we'll have one of you, eventually all of you, speak at 10 minutes. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Panelists, over to you. You can start off by introducing yourself, and then we will go. Oh man, you just been handed the microphone. Okay.
Hello. My name is Roland Pheasant. I come from Wikwemekong unceded territory located on Manitoulin Island. I'm from the Bear Clan, and I've been addicted to opiates for the majority of my adult life, and took me a long time to turn my life around. And when I did, everything changed, and for the better. And I couldn't believe that life could be so good, coming from where I came from, the things that I experienced, the things that went on in my life. Experienced a lot of hardships, but through ceremony, I've been able to change a lot of that. And following my teacher that shows us a good way of life. Yeah. I hope.
Let's hear it for Roland, everybody. Come on. Roland, I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You mentioned we're so thankful for you. We're thankful for you turning your life around. What was that moment, Roland, where you decided enough is enough, it's time to make the change? Only if you're comfortable, Roland, okay? Just want to make that clear.
There's a kind of a funny story to that. We're sitting at the party and sitting at the house, a table full of people that we thought were friends. And my partner Lindsay here woke up and asked everybody to get out. And after that, she said she wanted to get sober, and I said, okay. I said, I believe you when you spilled that bottle of whiskey out that's under the sink. And she did that, and from there, we never looked back.
Awesome. So you two are partners, eh? Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, let's keep going. Ani.
My name is Lindsay Trudeau. I come from Wikwemekong. That's my partner. We've been together since 2019. We met in active youth, but I want to share a little bit about my history background. My grandparents, both on my mom and dad's side, attended residential school, Indian day school. So I believe, I guess all of us here are a product of the Indian day school and residential school. So we're all impacted from those intergenerational traumas. So with that, my parents both went to Indian day school in Wicomakong. My grandparents were in residential school for, I think, from the age of 3 till they were 16. And then my dad's parents were hidden in the bush. His dad's dad, and then his mom was in the Indian day school. So with that, growing up in a family who have suffered those impacts, were all passed down to my brothers and my cousins, each and every one of us. So we grew up in that lifestyle. But we were always together. We're always together. Family gatherings. That's where everything would take place, the drinking and all that, which we were part of most of our young years, and that's where a lot of our childhood traumas took place. And that's where all my addictions started to birth, I guess. That's where everything started. At a young age of 10, 11 was my first cigarette and alcohol. And then, of course, in school with friends. So it started early. And all through my teenage years, that's where it was just nothing but drugs and alcohol. And it wasn't until my young adulthood when I got pregnant with my first. It wasn't until my mid-20s that's when I finally stopped, because I got pregnant. And I had my daughters. I have 2 daughters. One's 18 and one's 17. I have one of them here with me watching my youngest. He's a year old. So I was sober for 10 years, raising my 2 girls on my own. I didn't do any work on myself. So with all that, it was just all stuffed inside, buried so deep that it started coming out throughout their baby, toddler, childhood years. And I left when they were 9 and 10. I abandoned them. I left home. Like I literally just, I left. That's how strong those drugs are. They take over, and you leave the ones you love. So I was gone. My relapse wasn't a night or a day or a week. It lasted 3 years. So, and I was gone for about a year. And that's where I met Roland. And it was very dark time. Um, the stuff we saw, the stuff we did, it's not something I'm proud of, but you do anything to get that high, to get you by, make yourself feel better. So I don't want to go too deep into that, but you could imagine. So we were in that lifestyle. I met him maybe 6 months before we got sober, but we were always together. He took care of me after seeing me and watching what I was doing, and because we both sold drugs, and it's not fun. It's not a fun place when you're selling drugs, and the people you encounter. So he never left my side from the day we met, and a lot of stuff took place. A lot of ODs. We're saving each other's lives. And then we decided to get sober together, and it wasn't easy. The detox and the treatment. I went into detox and treatment, and he stayed home. And that was his way of healing and getting better, was through the land. And I needed something more. So I went into treatment, and after treatment, we resorted to the land, and we were out there for a couple months, and it was the best place. It was the best place to be, the best place to heal, and that's where our works really started taking place, discovering who we are, and I eventually got my kids back after 8 months. And since then, we've just been really focusing on our healing journey and trying to give back. We want to give back to our community in that good way. So that's just a little bit about myself. We have a few more questions here, and I'll share more. Nahamigwech.
Lindsay Miigwech. Lindsay, I'm just curious, Alice, if you can pass that back. I just have one quick question. You talk about giving back to your community and to your people. How are you doing that?
How are we doing that? Being available when called upon, like, because we'll talk about that, but just being available, and the fire, we lit the fire, so we keep that going, and just being there for our people, providing a safe place, or like anytime someone needs to talk, because there's a lot of people, and they're afraid, so we try and be that voice for them. So that's
Wonderful.
So-
Connecting people through your lived experience, I guess, is really important, right?
There's a lot of people who look up to wanting to just talk, because when they're down there, like down, not in a good place, they feel so unheard and not cared about, nothing. So we're there for a listening ear and providing good, kind words back. Something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Miigwech.
Oh, okay. Right on. Yes, yes, of course. Allison, good afternoon. Over to you.
Ani bojo manakanes kode ko edishna kas makwado dem wikwem kong donjaba. Sheila Mina John Gitsi Muk Recollet. I come from the Recollet family and Chagwaja family, which goes further back to Wagush Fox family and Jocko family. My English name is Allison Recollet, and I've been on my healing journey for a while now. Every day is a healing journey, and I come from sexual abuse. A lot of shame goes with sexual abuse, and not too long ago I filled out an Indian Day School application, and it brought up a lot of memories and triggers for me. However, the one thing about that too was to access my medical records. And as soon as I saw my medical records, I cried. I said, I must have been a real troubled child for my mother. Anyways, before I started work, like I knew the Indian Day School application was coming up, I wanted to go to a healing lodge to deal with my childhood. And I went to Dan Pine Healing Lodge in Garden River to deal with my childhood. And I must say that is the second time that I screamed out crying like a little girl, letting out that shame because of the sexual abuse I endured in school, being locked up in a closet with boys. And this happened probably in grade 4. Back home, there used to be a school in Kaboni, and after the incident happened with me, my mother spoke up, and the school shut down. The Indian agent back then was demoted, and it kind of separated my community of Kaboni. Some people were in for the school employees, and some people were in support of what had happened to me. So it was like a division in my community. And I grew up with that shame for a long time. And at 25, I went to a treatment center for alcoholism in Blind River. Back then it was called Anishinaabe Nodmage Gamik. And while I was there, I dealt with my alcohol, and it was so easy because that first step says to accept that your life is unmanageable. Yes, that was me, unmanageable. In the treatment center, I looked in the mirror. I looked deeply into my eyes, and I did not know who I was. I cried. And then they say to have a higher power. Well, I had a hard time with that because I didn't know what to believe in. Because I was raised Catholic, I didn't know nothing about my culture. And then I looked at my identification cards. I had a driver's license, a status card. Oh, it says I'm Indian status. Okay, I guess I'm Indian then. So I started listening to the teachings, the elders that came in, and this is the very first time I've ever seen sweetgrass smudging, circles, elder coming in to talk about naming ceremony, clan system, going into the sweat lodge. I went into the sweat lodge. My very first time I had fear because I didn't know what to expect. And I sat in the southern doorway where the mouse sits. And I was described like that mouse, being small and quiet, but very observant. Yeah, so, and then once the sweat lodge was done, the elder says, "Can I see you after?" Right away, I thought negative. And I thought I must have did something wrong. However, the elder says, have you ever considered getting your Indian name? I said, yeah, but I don't think I'm ready yet. He says, you're ready. So the second time I went into the sweat lodge, I received my name, Manakanesh Godekwe, which means when the fire is burning just right, not too high or too low. So when you think of English, I turn that around and say balance. I'm balance, a firewoman. I balance things out in my life. So from darkness, I bring light by sharing my experiences of healing. And when it comes to ceremony, I have gone to ceremony. I met up with a couple who were my traditional teachers, and however, I got violated by them. My own teacher violated me in ceremony, in a pipe ceremony, and that caused confusion for me because he said the Creator works in mysterious ways. So I was very confused, and I didn't tell my story. I was quiet because I had that shame again. You know, no one should ever be violated with their elder or traditional teacher, traditional helper. That kind of abuse, you don't hear about it. But it's very similar to residential school where my father was violated by an older boy in residential school. So, getting back to my story again about being violated, I had a lady friend call me and say, okay, thank you, asking me for help, and I said, sure, right away, knowing, because I'm a very helpful person, and she says, can you tell your story about what happened? And then she told me she went through the same thing too. I said, well, I don't trust in our judicial system because they don't know our laws, our native ways. And she said, well, I spoke to the Anishinaabeg police. And when she said that, the light bulb turned on. Oh, okay. I'll talk to them. So they came in from North Bay to Sudbury, where I was living at the time, and I told my story. And you know, when we went to court in Parry Sound, I heard there were 6 of us victims, that this man had violated children too, and men. And then a little further down the line, I would call the police and find out what's going on with the case. Well, this man had violated in Toronto too. They were invited to Toronto at the Health Friendship Center to do circles. And one man in a wheelchair heard his voice and he froze, and he went out drinking. And the people didn't know why he went out drinking. And this was told to me by the police, the investigator back then. So going a little further, 5 years later, I'm working at the Nandwedada Family Conferencing Center, where there's 10 of us employees that got specific training in family violence and learning about sexual offenders. And I'm listening to the radio at work, and I hear his name on the radio again. He violated again another woman in the same way from Dokis. So the lady friend from Wiki called me. She's older than me, and she says, let's do something for this lady. I said, okay. So we had a gathering in Sudbury, and I couldn't use my offender's real name because he was not convicted for me, but for the other 5 he was. And so I named the gathering after his spirit name, which is Blue Thunderbird Gathering, Spiritual Sexual Abuse. And I had the media involved. I wanted everyone in leadership to come to that meeting. So that's what happened. And then at 30 years old, after all this has happened, I got sick. I was treated as a massive heart attack, and I didn't know. My mother worked at the health center in Mindamoya on Manitoulin Island, and she said, I'll take you to the hospital. You know, I went to Little Current Hospital, and the doctor I saw there in Emerge asked me how old I was. I said, I'm 30 years old. Oh, you're too young to have a heart attack. Well, he gave me medication for pain and a light sedative to sleep at night because I was going through trauma. At that time, I just had learned that my ex-partner had sexually abused my daughter, and I froze. I didn't know what to do. But anyways, I did call the police, and the individual was charged. But getting back to my story, when my mother took me to Mundamaya Hospital, they treated me right away as a heart attack patient, and I'm waiting for the air ambulance to come. And my mother was working at that time, and she assisted me. She went with me on the air ambulance to go to Sudbury. And that's as far as I remember. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, ICU. The doctors didn't think I was going to make it. And they told my mother to have a family meeting, that there was nothing more the doctors could do for me. And my mother said, I have one more hope left, and that's our native way. And so my mother got a hold of a medicine man back home. The late Ronnie Wakagijik did the pipe ceremony for me. He asked for my picture and one of my skirts and tobacco. That's all he needed to pray for me. And my sister and cousin went there representing my mom with those items he needed. And all of a sudden, I could hear this turtle shaker coming. You know, I couldn't talk because I had tube in my mouth. I was on that life support machine, and I'm pointing at my ear. And my mom says, you want to write something, Al? I said, yes, nodding my head. And you know that feeling I had at that moment was, what are the last words I want to say before I leave this world? And what came out was, no, Garth. That is the man who had violated me. It was like he was the one person that took the most out of me. And it felt like I was stabbed in the heart with a knife, and then you turn that knife around inside your heart. That's what that pain felt like. Everything was taken away. And then when I was, my mom knew something was wrong. She says, Al, I think somebody's doing something, and I nodded my head. And this is about medicines, you know, people use medicines in the wrong way to hurt you. And that's what I survived. And you know, I had a heart specialist. His name was Dr. Hordovenko. And by the time I was going back for my checkup, my first checkup, I had to have a x-ray on my heart. You know what? He says, I can't explain to you what happened. There's no damage on your heart showing you had a heart attack. But yet he treated me as heart disease. I see a fly. Yeah, so I was treated with heart disease. I was on Coumadin, had to go for blood work twice a week. And you know, I really felt like my life was limited now. I couldn't do the things I needed to do. And I was a student at Cambridge College when this happened to me. And I did get to do my studies at home. My teacher would come and visit me at home, check up on me. So that is
Allison,
how
we're
I
about
started.
We're about 4 minutes over, so I'll maybe
Okay,
give you a minute,
that's
okay?
good.
No, just 1 minute. You can just wrap it up. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done. You can ask me a question.
Oh, just we could your story. I'm sure, but it's just time sucks sometimes, Allison. Allison, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing a part of your journey. We're going to come back to you for some questions, okay? Quentin.
Son, Buju, Wabanomiki Seed and Dishnakas Mashkote Bijike Doda. My given name is Quentin Bird. My true name is East Eagle from the Buffalo Clan. Yeah, I just want to start by thanking the Chiefs of Ontario for flying me all the way out here from Winnipeg. Yeah, and being so generous and welcoming. So a little bit about myself. I'm 35 years old. I was born in Portage la Prairie, Manitoba. A member of Dakota Plains Wahpeton Nation. Also have blood ties to Rolling River First Nation on my Kuku side. Yeah, where do I start? Yeah, so I grew up in care. My mother struggled with addiction, like a lot of people in my family. I think that it was due to colonialism, residential schools, stuff like that. So I didn't really have a good relationship with my father. I didn't really know him in my younger years. Finally, I got to know him, and oh yeah, I guess I could speak on my father. He was born in South Africa, Kagiso, South Africa, so I identify as Afro-Indigenous. Yeah, I was in care all my life, well, all my childhood. Didn't take much time to go from the child care system to the juvenile system, and yeah, I went to the youth center, and then eventually I went to adult jail. So yeah, I spent majority of my life in prison, and yeah, I just after so many years in prison, you kind of like, it's hard. It's a hard life, but after doing so many years in prison, you kind of like, enough's enough, right? Mm-hmm. And, this last time I went in, I went to a program in Headingley Correctional in Manitoba. It's called the Winding River Therapeutic Community. And this is where, and I don't understand why these things aren't in every jail in Canada, because it gives people like me an opportunity to take intense programming and, really like dig deep and face your traumas and, your substance abuse and like a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. Also, they have a great traditional program. So I had the honor of being a Skabe there. It's a helper. So I was a firekeeper there for the lodges. And I think once I got my spirit name, I think that's when I felt the shift within me. I can't really explain it, but I knew once I said my spirit name 4 times, I knew that, it was time to change. I had to carry that name in a good way, right? And become a leader in my community. So through that, I picked up a lot of teachings, and they have in that program, they also have a tattoo removal program. So I started going to treat some of my gang tattoos because I'm an ex-gang member. So I got some of my tattoos removed, and while I was there, and it was funny because I was in a lodge and I was kind of conflicted about my old lifestyle and my new lifestyle. So I was kind of sitting on the fence, not knowing if I was going to go back into the streets or if I was going to walk the red road. And I just asked in ceremony, right? I was in a purification lodge, and I asked Creator, I said, where do you need me to be? You know, where do you need me to be right now? Because I'm conflicted. I don't know. I'm kind of lost. And like once the sweat was done, I forgot that I had a session of tattoo removal. So they came and got me right away. They're like, "Hey, Bird, you got a tattoo removal today?" I was like, "Oh yeah." And so I went down there, and right when I walked in, they're like, "Oh hey, Quentin, how's it going? How would you like to speak to youth?" It's like, and I knew right then and there that, you know, my prayer was answered like immediately, you know, and I said yes, like right away. I didn't hesitate because I knew I had just asked for guidance and a purpose, and that was it. So I stayed in connection, and that's through Mother Inc. with Della Stanky, very wonderful woman. So through that and Michelle DeGroot, a gang prevention officer, Garney, I forget his last name, but cool dude. They would when I got released, they would come pick me up from Behavioral Health Foundation, which is a treatment center. So I was there, and they would come pick me up every Tuesday for boxing and drum group, stuff like that, just trying to keep myself busy. And yeah, started speaking to the youth at this wonderful organization called Spirit Horse Initiative. So I volunteered, you know, helping with boxing, and spoke to the youth a couple times, doing some one-on-one work with them. And a lot of the youth are gang involved, so I just kind of told them my story and like how it's going to end. And you know, it eventually led to a job. And yeah, I got a job there as a SCABE, and yeah, the rest is history. So now I speak in front of like social workers, CFS, social work students at the U of M, Red River College, schools. I went back to like two of my high schools and spoke. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Whoa, Quentin, right there. I got a comment, Quentin. We got a few minutes left. We're about 2 minutes under. I got a comment, and maybe you can relate to this. People ask me. People think I'm doing okay, and people say, "Well, how can I get the best out of life?" Right? Big question. That's a hard question, man. And the only thing that I could say is that, you know, like, if we really want to feel good about our life, is make a positive difference in somebody else's life. And when we do, when things get hard, that feeling is there, the stuff is there, the energy is there. Knowing that we've made a difference will really pull us through. Can you relate to that, Quentin? When things get tough, knowing that you're making a difference to those kids, I bet, huh?
Yeah, like for me, like working with the youth is like very healing, because like I am them, you know, these youth that are in the street and gang affiliated, you know, I am them. So when I look at them, I see myself. And the thing is like these youth, they recognize me because they know me from, it wasn't not too long ago I was in the streets. So they recognize me and they're like, "Hey, I know you, like, you're not fooling anybody. What are you up to?" You know, they don't really believe that I made these changes, right? So I have these, you know, I have like music videos and stuff like that, and I caught them watching it one time in the music room. And, you know, I feel like because I got their attention for the wrong reasons, now I'm going to make sure it's for the right reason, right? So some of these youth, they came to me, thank you. So we work directly with the justice system, the Manitoba Youth Center. So some of the youth that are on open custody, they get to come with us. So we took 3 of the youth to Sundance with us, a first-year Sundancer, and they were our ska-bays. So they came and helped us and like literally watched us walk the walk. And on the ride back, I heard them kind of whispering like, "Oh, hey, did you see bro? He was dragging those skulls and like, you know." And he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna, next year I think I'm gonna maybe pledge." And to me, that was like the most liberating feeling like ever. Was that to know that I made a difference in this young man's life.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Quentin, we're going to leave it right there. Wow, man. Quentin, nice. I'm glad you're here. You come a long way to spend time with us, so thank you. It's a real pleasure to meet you. Regan, over to you.
Really have to is this on?
It's on.
Really have to forgive me. I don't know my language, and my spirit is shining star, winged woman. Regan Valerie is my government. I'm a proud Isko from the Beardies and Okimasis First Nation in Saskatchewan, and I belong to the Willow Cree of Treaty 6 territory. My journey is one of resilience, survival, and transformation, turning pain into purpose and hardship into hope. Years of longing, isolation, and every kind of abuse imaginable. 60 Scoop and Indian Residential School left scars of my childhood that followed right into adulthood. It took shape in ways I hadn't anticipated. Trapped in domestic violence and caught in cycles, it was the gift of desperation that saved me from my vices and road of destruction. Healing, reclaiming power, and believing in myself became my intention. Walking with grace, truth, strength is not in falling, but is in rising every time we do. Surviving and thriving. As the founder of She Drives Limited, I have stepped into entrepreneurship, proving that resilience can build more than just strength. It can build dreams. Failure is no longer an option in my past, does not define my future. We are more than our pain, and we are warriors and much stronger than we know. So, I really have no idea where to begin. Maybe right from the beginning. My late Kukum was born in 1917. She had 18 children, and my mother is the second youngest. She was married, and she passed away when she was 87 years old. She had one husband and one man for her 87 years. And to me, that really means something. My mother had me at a very young age, and we were, I think the proper term is estranged. I never really got to know who my mother was as a child. I would be living with my Kukum, and then my mother would come, and then I would go with her, and then I would be in a foster home, and then I go back to my mom, and then the foster home, and a different foster home, and then another foster home, and then at the age of 7, I was taken from that home and placed in an Indian residential school. And I stayed there for 9 years of my life. I believe now that being where I was, you know, was a perfect breeding ground for every abuse imaginable. And I think of where things kind of changed for me. Well, living with my cookum, we would read the Bible and we would praise the Lord, and we would go to camp meetings, and then all at once I'm in this residential school, and I'm Hail Mary, full of grace, and kneeling in church, and I just like to look at the stained glass and count. They were so pretty, and I would count. There's 544 blue, and there's 214 yellow, and that's how I spent my time in church. And then when I was 15, I was taken and became pregnant and was in a common law marriage for 16 years. And at that time, the relationship, there was a lot of violence and addiction took over my life for many years, from pills to drugs and hard drugs and alcohol. And I truly had no idea. In my heart, I felt as if that was so normal because we all did it. It was just, every day was just a really normal activity to go and to leave your kids and to come home with black eyes or broken fingers or, cut lip. That was so normal to leave our kids for 2 weeks at a time and go and so when everything surfaced with Kamloops, the 215 unmarked graves, that was like 5 years ago, maybe, hey? And so when that surfaced, it was then that something happened, something was happening to me inside. And I was so raw and I was so emotional, and it still took me a couple of years of suffering before I was able to finally succumb to my pill use, which stopped first, and then the drugs and alcohol followed. And on July 3rd, it's been 2 years since I haven't used or put anything in my body that doesn't belong there. And it's a huge difference. My life now is amazing. There was a point in time where I didn't even want to be here at all. And I'm so grateful for everything that's happened. All of the work that I've been doing on myself, from seeing a therapist now, and I've taken somatic therapy, and I've done acupuncture, ear acupuncture, and tried yoga for the first time last year, and what an experience, taking care of my body, because I've always just only abused it all of my life. And so now I knew the difference between right and wrong. We're taught that as children. There are so many things that I wasn't taught, though. There are so many things that I still don't know, that there still lies a lot of ignorance and my cognitive ability. I'm a little bit delayed, with some things, but it's okay. I think I just completely accept myself for who I am. And I think of that little 7-year-old girl that was brought, to the residential school, and I know now in my adulthood that I love her. And in order for me to become, the woman that I'm meant to be, I need to really take care of her and nurture her. And so that's really important to me. I've worked for the majority of my life, kind of in the oil field and stuff. I was always out in the industry, and I am now in the beginning phases of starting my own company, and I just really believe that that we have dreams, or we need to give back. That's where I am as well, is totally giving back to my community, to my people. I am thankful that I was able to experience the love that I did despite everything, and how I grew up. My cookum loved me so much. I'll never experience that kind of love again. However, I'm glad that I was given that gift, because I carry it within me. So if I have it within me, then I know that I can give it. And that's a true gift. I think of my late father. It's the same thing, where when I was 15, I finally had a sense of belonging at 15 years old, to show me and to teach me. I think of him in visits often, and I'm so thankful for that. But I think of him, and my children and my grandchildren keep me going. And I too am very thankful to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for listening.
Panelists, I feel as if we could do this all day. First of all, I have to say, I feel as if we could have these talks all day. But we do have an agenda, and we do have workshops. But we still do have time. So I do have some more questions for you panelists. The panelists, the question that I have is, what are some of the most meaningful supports or sources of strength in your healing journey? And whoever wants to go first. Looks like you're ready down there.
Sure. The most meaningful support, I would have to say my partner Lindsay here. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her. I actually wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for her. I'm thankful for how caring and loving that she can be, and my family gives me that strength to give my 100% to do what needs to be done, to take care of my family, and to go even further when I think I'm finished something, to go above and beyond is where that strength for me comes from. Yeah.
Roland, thank you so much. I'd love to hear you and Lindsay talk about just the healing journey together. It's just so beautiful. Lindsay, over to you about sources of strength.
What have been the most meaningful support?
just like Roland had mentioned, he's been my biggest support. And biggest support and my biggest shoulder to cry on. Just my everything. I don't even think I would have done it without him at the rate I was going. Yeah, he's my everything. And yeah, I love him so much for that. He's given me so much to, think about. It's always him who's challenging me to think beyond what's there, like, what's in front of me, but it's beyond that. So he helps me look past and see the bigger picture. So he's been my biggest support, along with my family, my parents. My parents. Oh God, I put my parents through so much, and it wasn't until recently that they weren't the ones to blame, because I blame them so much throughout my entire life. And it was just recently that I finally came to an understanding that it wasn't them to blame, but to forgive myself for not understanding them. And that in itself, like, lifted so much off of me, because I blame them for everything my whole life, everything I went through. So they've been there, like, through everything. Like, they were there for my kids. Yeah, and I love them so much for that. They're there to help anytime we need. I appreciate that so much. My children are my biggest supports. They're the ones who had to go through all that, and I didn't even know that till their stuff started surfacing. And if I hadn't done the work that I did do, or that I am doing, I don't think that I would have been the person I was to offer that help for them. So they too are my biggest supports in everything where we go through and that we come through. My community, the programming, the Justice Program is another big support. Without them, I would have never discovered or realized the impacts of the intergenerational trauma. I attended a lot of workshops after getting sober, and it was Jonathan and Dorothy who put these programs on, and I went to them. They'd run. It's called the Four Doorways, and it runs the east, the south, west, and north. So you touch on your childhood, your young adulthood, and your adult, and then the future, your elder stage, which is the future. So it really had me looking at each part and having an understanding. And that's where I came to realization on the intergenerational trauma part of it all, and yeah, that's where I started to forgive my parents more and more each time I attended these workshops. And I went to we would go to the 4 series, and then I would go to the next one, because you'd hear something different every time, like you learn something new. So that was another big support. And talking circles were another big one. That's where I got to use and learn to use my voice, talking about it, just talking, because you're letting go and you're releasing a lot, and the more you talked about it, it became easier to talk about. What else? Just ceremony. Ceremony is another big one, huge one. I just finished ceremony this past weekend. I sponsored a meeting for myself, and our teachers came, and yeah, it was for myself and my children, and they came. They all came, and we had a really good ceremony.
We'll leave it right there.
Okay.
Very good?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Lindsay. Let's thank Lindsay.
Thank you.
Allison, we're going to move over to you, then Quentin and Regan. We got about 5 minutes left in the panel. Okay, so Allison, over to you about most meaningful supports and sources of strength.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
That's a big handful. I'd like to acknowledge the late grandmother Lillian Petuanakut from Birch Island on Manitoulin Island. She was my biggest support, and it was through ceremony and fasting that she did work on me, and she read me like a book. If I missed something, she already knew, and she worked on me in letting go of some of that stuff. And then I took the forgiveness journey. A lady from Sioux Lookout, I believe, came to Wiki to train us to learn to do the forgiveness journey. And the elders that came were the late Lillian Petuanakut and Bruce Elijah. And they worked on me again. And my grandmother, Lillian, says, "You have them on a pedestal. Don't put them on a pedestal. You don't owe them nothing." You know what? She was right. I did not owe this couple I was learning from about culture. And you know, when I mentioned that I recovered from that trauma, that big heart attack I had, you know, I thought I was going to hate all men because this one man hurt me. You know what changed my mind? I looked at my dad, I looked at my boys. I said, I can't hate my boys when they become men. I can't hate my father. So I learned to trust men again. And from there, I guess when I was full with learning more about me as a woman and healing from sexual abuse and surviving that death experience, having that trust again, and having trust in my bundle, because I was given a bundle from this couple, and that's why it was hard for me to trust my bundle, because it came from them. But the late Ronnie Wakagijik said, "Your bundle is good," because I doubted my bundle, but he kept it. I went to see him, and he kept it for 2 weeks. So I trust my bundle again, and I always remember my commitment with the Creator. As soon as he gave me this name, Manakanesh Kodekwe, that is a contract I made with the Creator to continue to walk with this name. And I've been to different ceremonies for my healing. And at some time in my life, it turned around where I started to work with the men. I did the strengthening the medicine wheel back home. And then when funding was over and done with it, I wanted to work with the men. So I came up here to Toronto and worked at John Howard Society as a Native inmate liaison officer to give the men the things, part of my bundle, the knowledge that I have, making dream catchers with red willow and bringing little eagle plumes for them to remember who they are as men, as someone's boy. Yeah, so I'm glad that I got to do that, and I do like to share and give back to my community. Miigwech.
Miigwech. And I love the fact that you're wearing your ceremony around your neck. Like, my goodness, your jewelry is incredible. You made it? Oh, like, taking orders, everybody, right over here. Taking orders. Come on. Christmas is only 120 days away. Quentin, really, what are you thinking?
What was the question? Biggest supports?
Supports, that's right, and sources of strength.
For me, I think first of all, I have to acknowledge the elders in my community. Elder Shelley Ann McDonald, the late Joe Big George, Brian Norman, Shannon Buck. You know, these elders in my community, they are the ones that believed in me. They saw something in me, and they helped me heal. They took me into the lodges, they helped me face my trauma, they helped me face a lot of the stuff that I was scared to face, that I was running away from. So I gotta acknowledge that. And then I gotta acknowledge the big drum. That's where I find my confidence, that's where I find my strength, my purpose, and the youth. So yeah, it's simple as that.
Awesome. Awesome, Quentin. Regan.
Yeah, for myself, I spoke a little bit about ceremony, when I was 15 years old and when I was first introduced. My late father would come and knock on my door and ask me if I was ready to go to sweat, and I would think of my kukum and how it wasn't part of her beliefs, and that was instilled in me, and so I was so afraid to go, and he would ask me every Sunday to go, and I wouldn't want to go, and then finally one day he said, okay, you need to have some form of spirituality in your life, whether you're gonna go and praise the Lord with your kukum, or you're gonna go and kneel down in church with Father Doucette, or you're gonna come right now to sweat. And I was just like, okay, I'll go. So he already had my sweat bag ready, my nightgown and my towel, and I went. And I was pregnant already at that time. I was 15 years old when I got to experience my first ceremony. And what an experience it was. I wept through the whole thing, and it was so natural and it was so easy. And I haven't forgot that, since. So for myself, especially in these last 2 years, has been ceremony, whether it's sweat, whether it's fasting. I get to support my partner in a lot of what he does, and I'm so thankful for that. Whether it's fasting or sun dancing, to experience these is so. It's so, for me, it's very natural, and it's who I am, aside from all of the therapy and the different conferences with, the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation. I get to attend all of these different conferences and just learn about the trauma. I got to listen to Dr. Gabor Mate, right? My sister is Connie Walker, who won the Pulitzer Prize like 2 years ago, or was it just last year? So, I mean, just all of these different experiences that I get to have, and the people that cross paths with me, is, I find that those are the biggest supports. I think of my children and my grandchildren, right? Even though my children didn't step foot in the Indian residential school, they're still so affected, and that hurts me. So I just want better. I want better for all of us.
Me and Regan spent a few minutes together at the table here during lunch, and Regan was asking me what to expect up here. And I was telling Regan, you're going to feel everybody's love. So I was talking about you to Regan, and I could feel your love. And sitting up on the stage, I could feel your beauty and wonder up here. But now I'm going to step off, and collectively as a room, we're going to show them our love. We're going to stand up, and we're going to applaud them and celebrate them. Are we ready? Everybody, the Lived Experiences Medicine panel. Let's give them a massive round of applause. We love you. We have some gifts for you. They're really heavy. Yeah. Absolutely. Our elders want to come and shake your hand. Thank you so much, everybody. That was beautiful. Nice to see you, Allison. Thank you so much. That's a real honor. It's a real pleasure. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're good. Yeah, thank you. Feels good up here, doesn't it? Awesome. One more time, everybody. Come on, let's go. Oh, wow. I just didn't hear it, but I felt it. Like I had a physical reaction from that panel. Just so beautiful. My goodness. I love panels like that. Manitou Makwa singers. We have our blanket offering that's about to happen. We have our blanket all ready. During this, if we get the lights turned up just a little bit, please, if we're able to do that. Once the song starts, you're going to see the blanket go around. We thank you in advance for the beautiful offering that you're about to put in the blanket. If you don't have any cash on you, I do believe, is there going to be an EFT information that pops up? I understood there was going to be. Perfect, right there. A GoFundMe, okay, that's good. A QR code is right there, perfect. Also, if you're not a QR code person, if you wanted to go and collect some money during break, you can hand that in at the registration table, okay? This is to send some love to the family that's grieving the loss of Javi. Manitou Makwa, did you want to come up here, Manitou? Oh, I guess right here with the microphone, huh? Okay. Manitumakwa, miigwech. The rest of you, miigwech for your love. It's break time. Workshops begin at 3 o'clock.